Did we write this?
Were you rereading it? I just finished rereading it.
Okay, I
Yeah.
think we're recording now.
Okay.
Okay, we're going to be professional, semi-professional now because we're recording. Hey, everybody, I'm Amanda Worthington. I am the editor of Nightmerica, Corruptions of the American Dream, and I'm here with a selection of writers from this great anthology. And this is just going to be a really laid back, I envision this at least as being kind of laid back conversation about what drew us to this project and why we decided to write what we decided to write. It's whatever we want to talk about, whatever we want to share with the internets right now. So, just as a brief introduction, I decided to undertake this project because it's been a thing that's been on my mind and heart for a long time, and I just really had this vision of doing this anthology, ran it by some people, and everybody I talked to really thought it was a great idea. And I thought, maybe I have something here. And I was very fortunate that Dragon's Roost offered to publish it. And so for the past 9 months, I have been mostly an exhausted creature of the night working on this thing because there are a lot of pieces that have to come together for an anthology. But we're almost there. We're 2 days away. Super exciting. By the time this posts, we will be on pub day. So that's pretty exciting. So I just want to give lots of time for our writers to talk about their stories, their kind of project, and what drew them to this anthology. So I'm just gonna start. We're gonna go around the room, just how you appear on my screen, actually. So I'm gonna start with Xavier Poe Kane. If you want to talk a little bit about what drew you to this project, what your contribution is about, just whatever you want us to know.
Okay.
We'd love to hear from you.
So, yeah, what I ended up having kind of the story of how I got involved with this is um, I was on the leadership team of the local chapter here with Amanda of the HWA, and she was talking about this anthology. And I was like, that sounds cool. And I had all of these ideas for a story that I could submit to it. And I kept going back and forth on, nudging her and asking her if she had space in there for me. And I kept deciding not to. And then one day I get this last minute, hey, do you have any poems or short stories? And every short story that I had for that I was thinking that I could write for this, I hadn't put pen to paper yet. So I had this story that had been trunked for about 2 years. I couldn't even sell it to my regular uh, creepy pasta podcast because he said this wasn't the right audience, wasn't the right audience. But it's called The Social Lottery, and it kind of is looking at Shirley Jackson's The Lottery and trying to update it for our modern time. And so, social obviously being social media and everything else about how that has contributed to the modern dystopia that we live in. So, I hope everybody likes it. It's one of those things that I've always been a little afraid of, that is it derivative or derivative trash, or is it art? And so I sent it off to Amanda thinking, okay, maybe she'll pick one or two of the poems. I kind of see how it fits in. And then she came back and was like, okay, this is in, this is in, and this is, so yeah, that's my story about my story.
Yeah, awesome. Appreciate you. Xavier stepped in last minute. That's always really truly appreciated by any editor. So it's gonna be a good one. So look for that on July 4th in Nightmerica. And next
Should
up on
we
my
like should we introduce ourselves as you come around? Because
oh
I don't know
yeah,
Xavier and he didn't say much about himself.
that's a great idea. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, Xavier? This will
Ah,
get better as it goes,
yeah.
people.
So, I came to writing late. I'd kind of done a lot of scribbling all my life. I did 20 years in the Air Force and Missouri Air National Guard, and as I was nearing retirement, I wrote the first draft to what became my first novel called A Mother's Torment, and it's this supernatural gothic novel about a young woman who returns home um, to this haunted house that she grew up in. She's always seen the ghost, but her mom's a emergency room physician, and her dad is a Baptist minister, so they never believed her. So she's moving in after a divorce with her toddler son, and all hell is about ready to break loose as family secrets are revealed. So um, that got me into writing horror in my mid 40s, and I've been really doing a lot with a creepy podcast called Fear from the Heartland. So
Amazing. Thank you for that introduction as well.
thank you.
So I think what we'll do is just you know, your time, introduce yourself and kind of tell us what drew you to the anthology and why you wrote what you wrote. And next up on my screen is Donna. Go for it, Donna.
I had to unmute. I'm Donna J.W. Monroe, and I write horror, I write YA, I write fantasy and sci-fi. Just gonna promote this really quickly. Blam. This is my collection that came out this year, and it is Dark Workings of Wild Women, and I'm pretty happy about it. But I'll put that down now because I'm really happy about being in this project as well. What drew me to this project was Amanda is so passionate, first of all, about this project. It is something that has haunted her for quite a few years. But I will also say that I have taught government to high schoolers for the past 20 years of my life. And um, because of the fact that I look at government, I look at the way governments are run, not just ours, I'm always drawn to dystopians. So her angle on this is really cool because I always taught my kids about the Constitution and about the basic natural rights that we all share, which are life, liberty, pursuit of happiness, right? And those are the basis of this project, losing the potential to have those rights. So I couldn't think of anything, one, more horrible, just because I think that everything flows from the ability to have those rights. And two, more, I guess, appropriate in the world that we live in. Um, so it's really been fun to start working on this. We're going to probably talk more about the stories later, but I had a hard time picking which one to actually write for because all three potential losses are so devastating if you think about it. So, um, yeah, it's a great project.
Awesome. Thank you so much for being part of it, Donna. Angela, you want to introduce yourself?
Absolutely. I'm Angela Rico Smith, and yeah, what do I do? President of the HWA is one. I don't know why this is so hard to think of. Published Space and Time. And what attracted me to this project was, for obvious reasons, just the way things are going in the world. It just seemed like something, if as artists, it's kind of our responsibility to speak up when we see things that we feel like should be spoken up, because if we don't do it, who's going to do it? We are the ones that actually have the means and the platforms and so it was something that I thought about a lot, because there's usually that thought of, should I speak up? What will happen to me if I do? And then at the same time of writing this, we actually did immigrate to Brazil from the United States like 2 years ago. And it's been an ongoing process. Immigration is not an easy thing either way, whatever your country you're going to. But there was a lot of emotion for me because my grandmother, my great grandmother, and my grandmother immigrated to the US. So to me, it was a lot of coming here. Have I betrayed what my great grandmother? She left everything to come to the US for this dream. And am I rejecting the dream, or was she missold? So it's been a lot of emotional things for me to figure out that way. And so that's kind of where the story came in, is me trying to talk about what is currently happening, but also deal with that feeling of I am kind of, it's a gift. In the world, we think of coming to America as a gift. And so many people try to immigrate to the US because of that. And so am I tossing a gift without appreciation, or was this the right thing to do? So that's kind of where my story came in.
Yeah, absolutely an amazing piece. And we'll talk more about that in just a minute. Thanks for being here, Angela.
Yeah.
Valerie, you're next on my screen. You want to introduce yourself?
Well, I don't know. I think I only count as a half a writer because Larry and I wrote a story together. So Larry, chime in at any time. Yeah, I'm Val Williams. I've written and had published 20-ish stories in anthologies and magazines, and my debut novel came out last fall, The Vanishing Twin. I don't know. Yeah, there we go, The Vanishing Twin. And it's a supernatural thriller type novel. Dysfunctional family, sprinkling of Haitian voodoo, and all bets are off. But I had fun with that, but I still love my short stories. And Larry and I have been in a writing group together for 3+ years. I don't know how many years now, a long time. And so Larry actually came up with the idea for the story Company Policy, which is about, when you hear horror stories about insurance companies, pre-existing conditions, denials, letting people and children die because the insurance company won't pay for them. So the idea, Larry came up with the idea, kind of the outline of the idea, and I did the first draft of the story, and then we just kind of tossed it back and forth until we were both happy with it. And as far as how we got to the anthology, Larry notified me that, hey, Amanda's putting together an anthology and she's going to take our story. I said, hey, yay. So I kind of found out about it after the fact. So Larry can address more about how it came to the anthology, because we had subbed it to a number of markets. I think we wrote it for there was a specific anthology that escapes me right now that we wrote it for, and they ended up not taking it, and we subbed it to some different markets with no luck, but it was just such a good fit for this anthology. And that's my story. Like I said, I kind of came in on the back end of all this, but I'm really pleased to be in the anthology. I'm really pleased that story found a home.
So glad to have you, Valerie. And don't sell yourself short. Like, I feel like sometimes when things are co-written, people feel like they can't take up equal space. You're both the writers of this in my eyes, so we're so glad you're part of this. And we will circle back around and talk a little bit more about our stories. But so glad you're here. I'm so excited. Next up, Anton, go for it, my friends.
Yeah, so because obviously what we need is another white dude that's telling us how things should be. So that's what I'm here for, to fill that
That was my line.
very
Ah.
underrepresented. Sorry about that. Very, very underrepresented worldwide approach to things. But still, I am here to carry that weight on. As far as like about me, I write stuff. I'm a fucking idiot. I don't. Oops, sorry. I didn't think to check beforehand to find out if we were supposed to be PG or not. I'm not good at honing myself in on things. I have to teach, so I have to talk to kids all day long, and I have to hold my true thoughts in my head and find a nice way to say them. And I'm not good at doing that the rest of the time. And so, kind of all of that, I mean, really like my part in this. I mean, first off, did get to meet Amanda just this past year. Donna introduced us, and that was a great opportunity. Definitely, as Donna had mentioned, that passion was definitely shown forth. And as somebody that is perpetually incredibly angry and immeasurably sad all the time. And oddly enough, recently been a bit worse. I can't think of why. Everything's been going so great. Um, when when Amanda had asked about doing this, I immediately leapt on. I was like, yeah, I think I may have just a tiny bit of annoyance that I could tap into for it. And specifically the poem that I worked with, I really like the idea of playing with the hypocrisy of the people that have spent so long saying what they care about is freedom of speech, yet at the same time, any speech that isn't their speech, they immediately want to, remove. Uh, as we've seen over and over again with like stipulations put on what schools are allowed to teach, what books are allowed to be in people's possessions, what people are allowed to be the ones talking. And that hypocrisy, as well as the convoluted language that goes with it, the sense of like talking in loops and using words that specifically contradict each other all the time, so that you can always just say you meant whatever you want it to mean now, regardless of what you wanted it to mean back when you said it in the first place. Like all of that is a lot of I hate to say it's fun to play with, but it is kind of fun to play with. And it gave me a really good outlet for dealing with my constant frustration and annoyance and terror and fear and sadness. Um, so yeah, thanks for that, Donna. Hope ever brought everybody up to a good mood.
I love that you're a part of this, Anton, and I love your piece so much. Can't wait for people to read it. Thanks for being here. Next up, Chris, you want to introduce yourself? You are muted.
Oh, here I am.
It's the Zoom struggle.
I have dogs barking in the background, so I muted myself so I wouldn't subject everyone to that. But I am Chris. I write under the pen name C.S. Magnuson. I have 3 novels out, 2 of them behind me. I have the push. Most recent is Hidden Children, out through Horrorsmith Publishing. It is Ozark folk horror. Um, I was very excited to write a piece for this anthology. I'm definitely a political person. I don't understand when people say I'm not interested in politics. I'm not, um, I don't care about them. I mean, to me, it's everything. It's how our food is grown. It's how it's prepared. It's how much it costs. It's our education. It's our health. It's the way we live, how we live, where we live. All of that is tied up in that. When I was trying to come up with an idea for the anthology, I think the hardest thing was narrowing it down because there is so much, and you can shoot off in 18 different directions. Our society is really giving us a lot to work with as far as horror goes these days. But I ended up kind of drawing from personal experience and landing on what seems perhaps like a niche issue, but I think it is one that will become much larger in the coming years. In insurance, and when we think of insurance, we often think of health insurance, which is kind of the big one right now, but it's also home insurance. And as our climate does funky things, insurance companies are pulling out of different states, and people are finding themselves unable to have insurance. And the real kicker there is that without insurance, your banks can foreclose on you. So you have the looming nightmare of foreclosure over your head, even if you've done all the right things. And I think we're going to see more of that and more corporations waiting to swoop in and kind of steal up properties. And so that's kind of where the little kernel of my idea came from. And then I had to throw in some eco horror because that's fun and I love plants and I have my little army of plants behind me here. And yeah, it ended up being a fun piece to write with a little bit of I guess cathartic vengeance on the page. So that's always good. We don't always have control over things these days, but it's always nice when we can make the bad guy get what's coming on the page.
Absolutely. Thanks for being here, Chris. And it is an excellent piece, y'all. So read that on July 4th. Next up, the second half of company policy, Larry Hinkle. Go for it, Larry.
Okay. Larry Hinkle, still the least famous author you've never heard of. I'm going to keep using that tagline until someone's heard of me. 2 books, space between my collection. My new novella, The Aris Ridge Trail, is out now. You should buy it because it's really good. Because of personal reasons, I can't really talk about politics and stuff online. So it's very hard for me to keep my mouth shut about these things. If I'm talking to you personally, I'll talk a whole bunch, but I can't talk publicly about things. So when Amanda came to me about this, I mean, like Val said, we'd already had the story, but I was like, holy shit, this is like the perfect venue for this because I don't know if people realize this, but healthcare in America sucks. And it's just going to continue to get worse and worse and worse. And I know that when they passed the Affordable Care Act, they stopped being able to deny you for pre-existing conditions, but I'm sure that will go away soon. So I had actually I came up with the idea for this story not long after my mom died, and we were dealing with insurance and things like that. And I I couldn't write. I was like totally blocked. I couldn't even. I had an idea, and I went to our writing group and said, does anyone who want to stop, collaborate, and listen? And Val threw her hand up, even though she probably didn't get the reference. But since I couldn't write, she did write the first draft, and then we just shot it back and forth like that. Going, we didn't really have any problems. I think the only thing was like because of my writing style, I probably wanted to put a little more humor into it than she was used to, like the joke about the ghost turning the boss's laptop on and the speaker's really loud and playing porn all over the office. That one was mine. So I fought for that one. That's a good bit. That needs to
And
stay
you
in
added
there.
in more gore too.
Yeah, I did add in more
Yeah,
gore.
yeah.
But yeah, so when we got the chance to sub for this, I thought this is the perfect story for it. I'm really excited to be in it and actually read the rest of the stories too.
Yeah, absolutely. I can't wait for people to read this one. It's different. Different. It's amazing. So thanks for being here, both of you. Next up on my screen, Lucy, would you like to share just a little bit about yourself or your story or whatever you feel like sharing with us?
Oh, sure. My name's Lucy Snyder, and I've been writing for quite a while. I'm the author of 15 published books, about 100 published poems, and about 125 published short stories. Anyway, I got involved in this anthology because of Austin Gregg, who is one of the other contributors. I was chatting with him online, and he was very excited about Nightmare, and I was like, "Oh, that sounds really cool. That sounds like just kind of right in my wheelhouse." So he arranged for Amanda to send me the guidelines, and I saw, "Ooh, they're taking poetry." Um, Typically, more of my social commentary pieces are in poem format rather than in short stories, although I definitely do include that type of theme in my short fiction. But anyway, so I had been noodling around with a couple of ideas that had emerged from my frustration with online discussions. I'm kind of chronically online, And there are discussions that I see happening over and over and over again where there's some people who just won't see that there are things being done in this country that hurt other groups, like, for instance, gay, lesbian community, people of color, women. You know, you'll see a lot of men who are denying the violence that's done against women. And one of the poems is about that specifically, where I've just seen over and over again where, there will be certain men, and certainly hashtag not all men, but certain men who will say, well, this doesn't happen. That's not a real problem. And you'll have a bunch of women chiming in saying, yes, this is what happened to me. And they'll be sharing these really painful personal stories, in kind of a public forum in a desperate attempt to educate these guys. And they'll be like, no, that didn't happen. You made that up. And so it's just always really, really frustrating when you see people, taking the lengths to try to educate other people, and then they just get that thrown back in their faces. And it inevitably happens. But you got to hope that, the people who are willing to step up and try to do that educating, like maybe there's somebody who's a lurker out there who's just reading this, who's more open to having their perspective changed. You got to hope for, the silver linings in this. And my other poem is about people, specifically white people, who just can't take any criticism to change their own perspectives about how they treat people of other races. So it's about racism generally, but specifically about white people just being like, no, 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 I can't be a problem. I have Black and Mexican friends, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, that they just kind of break down into little tiny pieces the moment anybody's like, hey, this thing you're doing is not cool. And then they make it about them, and the whole conversation turns into trying to comfort this white person who feels attacked when somebody was just like, hey, you might want to check yourself. This isn't helpful. So I was excited about the anthology, like I said, and I submitted both poems to Amanda because I couldn't choose. I couldn't even like really necessarily choose the life, liberty, or the pursuit of happiness in terms of, what category they fell into, because I felt like they kind of fell into all three. So it's going to be a surprise for me figuring out like which section she put them in. But she ended up picking up both poems, which I was very happy with. It's just a lot of fun to be able to write poetry for an anthology like this, because I really enjoy the wordplay in poetry. I get to do things with poems that I don't really get to do in short fiction, and so that the themes and the content is not fun, but the writing of the poems is. So that was an enjoyable experience. And I guess in terms of a plug, my latest work in terms of long form is the Lovecraftian cosmic horror novel Sister Maiden Monster, which is out from Tor Nightfire.
And which I absolutely love. That's like one of my favorites. So
Yay!
I love it. So glad you're here, Lucy.
Hey, thank you. I'm
And
glad to be here.
and also, yeah, I feel that. I feel the wordplay that happens in poetry. And in fact, I had some people tell me I should just keep it to stories, and I wanted to include both, and I just broke all the rules and put both in this anthology. So I'm very glad that we got so many poets.
Which is great.
Good collection. So thanks for being here. We've
Thank you.
gone through everyone, and as you might be able to tell, from just the way things have flowed, I didn't really have too much of a plan for tonight. I thought we'd just have a conversation about our works. And it strikes me that Donna didn't tell us about her work. So I'm going to circle back around to Donna. You want to tell us a little bit about, without spoilers, obviously, but a little bit about what you wrote for the anthology and kind of what drew you to that particular idea?
Yes. Well, I love dystopians. I love thinking about the way the world works. Like I said, I was a teacher, and I love, by the way, Philip K. Dick, the writer. If you take one thing and you really twist it hard, one thing we believe or one thing we do or one thing that matters, you change the whole society. And figuring out how to fix a thing is like almost reverse engineering. And I think that's what dystopians really are trying to do, is trying to figure out what could go wrong or what has gone wrong, and they're masking it in this story. So this story is called His Edges, and it's got an awful lot of different big bads in it. Um, there's the haves and the have-nots. There's organ harvesting. There's using people as data storage. There's all sorts of things going on in this. But if you boil it down, really, it's the relationship between a boy who knows some things and a girl who's trying to know things. And it took me a long time to write it. I thought Amanda was going to poke my eye out because I kept like, can I just have another couple days? It's really long for me. I'm a flash fiction writer. Um, I tend to be, like Angela said, you know, punch you in the gut as fast as you can and then save on the words. That's what I like to do. But like this story would not shut the hell up. It just kept coming, and I'm pretty proud of it. I like Lucy said, had a hard time deciding which place it belonged. And I've gotten a peek, so I found out where you put it, and I agree. So yeah, it's really an interesting story. And honestly, the horror isn't gory, and it isn't I mean it's truly like, how existential. It's existential. Like, can we continue? How do I escape this thing that I didn't even know I was in? Like it's like the lobster in the pot and the water's starting to boil and they still don't know. Anyway, it was an awful lot of fun to write, even though I was actually worried that Amanda was gonna like tell me I was fired. But it was the fun one to do.
Yeah, it was I loved it. I loved it, and I think people will love it too. And I think that brings up actually a really good point. Um, I think there are a lot of different kinds of horror here in this anthology. And I'm really happy about that because that's exactly what I was going for. And I made an effort to invite people that, you know, I mean, Anton made the joke, but like, I wasn't going to have all white dudes in this anthology, to be frank. I wanted to have a lot of different, not that I wasn't going to have white dudes in this anthology, but that it just wasn't going to be everybody. And I wanted to I wanted to have a lot of different perspectives because I think the American dream looks very different to different people, different places in their lives. And so that's a good point. Like there's a lot of different kinds of horror here. There's there are also some people that weren't able to be here that have some kind of shocking stuff that's maybe a little bit more than some of the other stories. And maybe some people feel that throws off the tone. But I don't know. I think it's what I was going for because the American dream is different to all of us. And there's the slow burn horror and there's the really in your face horror. And it's all part of what, so many of us deal with. So that's a good point. All right. So we have gone through, kind of talked about our works. Um, I I think it would be lovely, even though I know we kind of touched on this briefly. But I think it would be lovely if we all went through and kind of talked about what we have out now, what we have coming out, what we're working on. Just I want this obviously to be a plug for Night America, but I also want this to be elevating for the writers that are part of it too. So let's just go around the room, tell people what we're working on, starting with we're just start at the beginning again with you, Xavier. And I know you said a little bit, but feel free to say some more.
Okay, so what I'm working on is well, first of all, um, I'm putting together a horror writers conference. It's a one-day writers conference in Eureka Springs in October, Eureka Springs, Arkansas. It's in conjunction with the Nightmare in the Ozarks Film Festival. And so it takes place on Thursday. And right now it's going to be free. And the tickets are up on Eventbrite and everything. I went to the very first one last year, and it was I had a really great showing with my authors table, and the film festival culminates in a one of the largest zombie parades in the country. So I think the dates are October 22nd through the 25th or 6th, Eureka Springs, Arkansas. So if anyone's interested in coming, please do. In terms of stories and things that I'm putting out there, I'm getting ready to, after a year hiatus on the creepypasta circuit, I think in August, I'm going to return to the channel's Chilling Tales for Dark Nights. But I'm going to return with a trilogy of short stories that kind of bounce all over the place. And I'm working on a New Year's Eve story that if I can pull it off, if CTFDN will cooperate with me. Pretty much it's a Air Force nuclear missile crew on New Year's Eve on the brink of World War III. And as we count down to the new year, they get the order to push the button. And so it's very echoey of the Twilight Zone. So I'm hoping that they'll do it and premiere it at 11 o'clock Eastern time on New Year's Eve, so that a person could listen to it while watching the New York Times Square thing on mute, and then hearing about this Air Force crew as they get the order to touch the button, what happens after they make the decision whether or not they're going to touch the button, all as the ball's dropping. Um, so yeah, and the very last thing, my next novel, Pea Ridge, it's about aliens crash landing in my hometown of Bourbon, Missouri.
I love it. Thanks for sharing, Xavier. I'll have to look for all of that stuff. What about you, Donna? What you got coming? What you got out? Tell us everything.
I have this that just came out this year. Again, this is my first collection of short stories about women and horror. So pick that up. It's Amazon. It was also put out by Dragon's Roost. Um, I am excited because I'm involved in a book project with about 5 or 6 other authors. We're writing in a shared universe called the Dark Reflection series. The first book is wrapping up right now. We will finish the second book hopefully by like November, and then they're going to start releasing them if all goes well. So far, it's about a 7-book series, so I'm super excited to be a part of this. I'm writing a cat. It's a cosmic cat. So it's one of my favorite things to do. And yes, it's got horror in it. So Mercedes, if you know Mercedes Yardley, did I say Yardley? I meant, yes, Mercedes Yardley. Brain. Yes. Sorry, I was trying to say Mercedes Lackey, which is a totally different person. Mercedes Yardley, who's in it with me. We totally steered it horror. So it's really super fun. And I also have my Poppet series. It's out there now and it's complete.
Awesome. And that's a YA series. Yeah. Perfect. Thanks for sharing. And yeah, that all sounds so exciting. Cosmic Cats are my favorite. What about you, Angela? I mean, you can pick and choose. I know you have lots going on, but
Um, funnily enough, the thing that I'm the most excited about lately is a book, but it's not a book. And it's kind of like all my life, I've been trying to solve the whole thing of sustainable creativity and, how do we have to be starving artists? I feel like, no, we don't have to. And then that became like kind of the mad obsession this last year. And then I figured it all out in my head. So that's the book that I'm writing, but it's also the coaching program that I'm working on, because that is where my income comes from, is publishing coaching. And then I was trying to teach others to coach, which wound up being a reverse engineer. I'm going to say nightmare. But now that I'm through it, I'm like, oh, it was cool. I'm glad all that happened. It was worth every bit of the existential horror of my life. But so that's kind of been a big part of what I've been doing. And that will be released in October. And it's called the Tao of the Maker's Tao. And the thing that wound up putting it all together for me was the Loshu Magic Square, which I don't know if everybody knows about it, but it's the foundation of, so I think like 2,000 or 3,000 years old, maybe 4,000, but it's the foundation of feng shui, tai chi. All of it comes from the Loshu Magic Square. And there's actually a lot of Western magic elements that come from there, like the swipe, when you have to do certain motions with the magic wand, is actually the motions that you would go through to open the Loshu Magic Square. But anyways, I'm not going to do a lesson on that here. And then other than that, In Eugenie is the book that I released last. So I've been working with promoting that really terribly, but it's there. And I love that book. I just never talk about it. And I have some children's books out, which I never talk about. And the one that I'm going to be working on after the Maker's Tao will actually be horror again. And I'm going to finally finish The Bittersweets, which the novella was my first Bram Stoker nomination. And the rest of it has been written for like 3 or 4 years, save 2 chapters. So that's my goal. If you ever feel like you're a slow writer, I've had this book. It's a novel. It is technically my first novel, because I mean, if you consider 2 chapters, is pretty much done, but it has been sitting there since 2019. So yeah. So, but yeah, hopefully, I say that now, hopefully by this time next year when we're doing this again, I won't be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna finish Bittersweets finally. So
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of authors' first written book is not their first published. Right?
mhm.
Yeah, for
Yeah, because I think if you have a success, you get slammed, and everything, ironically, the more you succeed, the less you actually get to write. So yeah, it was like, oh yay, it was my first nomination. Oh, and now I'm not going to write anything else on it for quite a while because there's too many other things happening. So
yeah, I feel it. That's a lot. That's a lot, but like all sounds so promising and good. Look forward to all the things, Angela. What about you, Chris? What are you working on? What do you have? What do you want to tell us about?
Right, unmuting myself this time. I'm the nerd that didn't unmute the first time. um, I am working on a sequel to Hidden Children, that I'm about 3/4 of the way done. Kind of picks up about 15 years after the first novel. I guess, warn people, is very bleak. I It's the novel that got me an agent, but also got rejected from a number of mainstream publishers for being and so I'm writing a sequel that will hopefully be a little more uplifting. Additionally, I am working on a Dust Bowl horror novel, little eco horror. Back in the day, the Dust Bowl is to date our most, I guess, our country's worst ecological disaster. We'll see what follows, but that one will hopefully be ready to send out for people to review. I haven't decided if that one will be something that I'll send to my agent, or if I'll go with smaller publishers for that one. But hopefully it finds a home, because I'm very excited about it, and I think it's got some mixed in with the horror. It's got some timely messages about taking care of the land that we live on, and what happens when the land turns on us. because we have not been respectful stewards of it. But yeah, that's about
Yeah,
it.
absolutely. I think that was the one, y'all, that I was telling people about. And Chris was like, it's not published actually. Oh, I read it. Whoops. I read part of it at least. But like we
Yeah. Well,
bonded.
I don't want to call you my beta reader. Sometimes you're my alpha reader.
Yeah, definitely alpha reader. I remember us bonding over um me mentioning I have like a Grapes of Wrath horror inspired horror. I have a Grapes of Wrath inspired horror.
Yes, it was the original thought was
Amazing.
Grapes of Wrath meets Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Yes.
Just do a
Yes.
little
That is
mashup.
apt.
But yeah, throwing a little, I think, went a little gothic with it, with threw some, shades of Rebecca in there, and went
It's
down
good.
with it. But
It's amazing. I can't wait. Really, I can't wait. So thanks for being here. Thanks for sharing. What about you, Valerie? What are you working
Um, First of all, shout out to Angela. My short story, The Lookout, was published in April's Space and Time, and Space and Time was a bucket list market for me. And so, yes, made it over the finish line. Yeah, I had mentioned the novel came out October. It's kind of sitting there. I'm really new at all this as far as actually marketing my own stuff, because it's always been short stories, and it's always been in anthologies or magazines, which kind of already have their own structure. Now the novel is my baby, and I have to promote it, and I'm doing a dismal job of it. But yeah, the people who've read it really like it, so I'm not discouraged from that. I mean, it's a good book. I just don't know how to market. And speaking of marketing, the next novel that I've read, I seem to have kind of drifted into historical fiction. I really love historical fiction, and the next novel that I'm shopping right now is called A True Likeness, and it takes place in pre-World War I Richmond, Virginia, and the protagonist is a female photographer who works with her husband, and she takes on a post-mortem commission. Back in the day when they used to take pictures of dead people because it was the only pictures they had. So it opens with a post-mortem shoot, and then it basically the photography opens up a portal to ghosts, and there's a vengeful ghost, and there's all kinds of cool stuff going on. But anyway, I pitched it at StokerCon, and the small publisher asked for a full manuscript, and I've been shopping it around with small publishers, and I think there's like 5 full manuscripts out there right now in the ether somewhere. So I'm hoping to hear something back from them. Agents, yeah, no love from agents, but that's okay. I'm good with the small presses. The other historical that I'm working on is a novella that takes place in 1500s Germany, and it's the era of the witch hunts. And my protagonist in that is a nun, which is basically the only safe thing a woman could be back then and not be accused of being a witch. As it turns out, she's a witch. So so I'm still working on that one. It's planned to be a novella. It may turn into a novel. I don't know. It started out as a short story that I'm growing into the novella. So we'll see how that goes. And finally, I'm dipping my toe into self-publishing with a collection, which I hope to have out sometime in the fall. I've got the inside done. I've got the structure set. I got a cover from Ruth Anna Evans, who did just a bang up job on the cover for me. So I need to just figure out how, what do I need to do for next steps. But yeah, I could use some blurbs. So if anyone's interested in blurbing my collection, I would love to send it to you. And that, oh, and I read Donna's collection, and it is fabulous. Read it, get it. So, and that's about it. Staying out of trouble.
Yeah, that is so much, and that is so incredible because historical, like fiction
I love,
slash horror,
yeah,
that is a thing right now.
yeah, and it
Speaking
takes a
of,
ton of research.
it does, but it makes me think of being a genie. Just a little bit. Makes me think of everything Almakatsu.
Oh,
No?
Alma is just she's my hero. Yeah. And she's so nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's a thing. It's a
Yeah.
thing.
Love
There
it.
is a market.
Yeah,
So
good.
that is incredible. Glad you're here, Valerie. Look at all that. Doing like half a company policy. No, you are a full writer. You're doing incredible things. We're glad you're here. What about you, Larry? What you working?
Okay. Well, first, I wanted to say something else about this anthology. Is I was having I went out for breakfast this morning with my friend Tom Deedy, and we were talking about anthologies and how so many of them, themed anthologies especially, like if you get a vampire themed anthology, you know every story is going to be about a vampire. If you get a werewolf themed anthology, you know every story is going to be about a werewolf. And it doesn't detract from the stories, but you already know what the stories are going to be about. I think what's cool about this one is it's a whole wide range. I mean, it's a theme, but it's such a broad theme that every story I think people are going to be surprised by. I don't even know which ours it is, life, liberty, or the pursuit of happiness. I'm guessing it's life since it's insurance and a lot of people get killed. So I think that's it. But I meant to say that earlier. I think that's one reason I was excited about this anthology was because it is so wide ranging and not limited in scope to one specific monster. As to what I'm working on, I held up my novella. Oh, now you can't see it here. Oh, there it is, the Eris Ridge Trail earlier. And I am working now on the a semi quasi sequel to it. It's a collection of interconnected short stories that all take place on or around the Eris Ridge Trail. Um, it's it's going well. I've tried to time out my last two books to come out at AuthorCon, so that's where I premiered them, and then this year they moved AuthorCon up by about a month and a half. So I am woefully behind on it. I have so much writing left to do, and I'm a really slow writer. So this is going to be an interesting summer because that's about all I'm going to be doing is I've got probably another 25,000 words to go, which is like five or six more short stories that I know what the stories are, but I don't have any of them written yet. So it's going to be a lot of that. I keep seeing like cool calls, and I was like, I ain't got time to write that shit. Man, I got my shit to write, So when that's done, then I can write something else. But this is all I'm doing for the foreseeable future because I don't I mean if I miss AuthorCon, it's not the end of the world, but I really want it out then. Because if I miss that, then I'm not doing another thing. I don't think until StokerCon. So it's a window that I want to hit, and it's so far it's going well. I mean, the book is I pitched it as a cosmic horror road trip with dogs, and it's a whole world I've created. So the stories are very open-ended. I can pretty much write whatever I want and make them fit in there. Now it's just a matter of figuring out what it is I want to write and then writing it and not sucking. So hopefully that's how it ends up is not sucking. That's what
That's
I'm
the goal,
shooting
right?
for. That's the bar right now is don't suck. So I think that's it. That's
Awesome.
all. I won't be working on my tan because I will be writing constantly, but I don't like sunshine anyway. Sunshine's overrated and summer is the worst season of all by far. So I don't care if I'm not outside in the least.
I feel like there needs to be a crossover between your dogs and Donna's cosmic cat.
Uh,
But
yes, both.
but yeah.
Yeah, they're yeah, being on the trail has made both of the dogs smarter and younger, and one of them it turns out is kind of immortal. So
Oh, nice.
yes, I'm sure it
Looking
would have
forward
the
to
same
the
effect on cats.
maybe. Looking forward to the Eris Ridge Trail multiverse.
Yes, the new one is going to be called the title for it is An Hour Before Dark is the title of the next collection. So that's pretty
Awesome.
much it.
Can't wait. That sounds incredible. What about you, Anton? What you got coming?
Yeah, so first, before I start talking about, I do have a quick question for Larry. Do you indeed, for sure, rock the mic in the manner, perhaps, that a vandal may rock a mic?
Oh, see, now I'm not going to get the reference. Ah,
You were already starting off with Ice Ice Baby. Come on now.
That was
did I?
your reference,
Do the
It
Larry.
was my
extreme rock the mic
reference.
like a vandal.
Ah, see, now my
I
edible's
got
kicking
it.
in,
I got
man.
it.
It's fine. It's fine, sweetie. I
Dude,
overword shit.
I just turned 60 on Friday, man. My memory is shit now. I have a medical excuse not to remember, but one lyric from a song, one lyric per song. That's all I'm allowed to remember, or all I'm capable of remembering. So,
But I still thank you for bringing up Ice Ice Baby because again, just silly fun. But I guess promoting my stuff because Valerie is not the only one that is absolutely horrible at promoting their own things. I do have two books that came out pretty close to each other this year. One of them, this guy that I got right here, is from Bludgeon Girls Press. I really love the ladies that run that. They're marvelous. Cover art was done by Betty Rocksteady. I will never, ever stop telling people how much they need to support her stuff. She's so weird. I love it. She made this weird little goopy dude because I had no idea what I wanted. And she was like, yay, I get to make a weird little goopy dude. And that was marvelous. And for some reason, a weird little goopy mouth on it. It's a short story collection that is all of my sad, angry, occasionally funny, and periodically absurdly horny stories in there. There's just a lot of crap inside of that. I don't know what to tell you. It's but prolonged torments wrapped in the worst of evils. I do really enjoy that, and also from Dragon's Roost, who most of my stuff has come out through Dragon's Roost. I can't say enough about how good they've treated me over the time. I really appreciate everything that Michael does. He's a solid dude and is great to work with. But I have a collection of poetry that came out that is Let the Sun Shine In. These are poems based off of the autopsy of Jane Doe, because I have obsession issues and I really like art building on other art. And so, that movie gave a lot to explore as far as uh, the treatment of people as things that I really, liked digging into. So that was a fun opportunity to get into that. As far as things that are coming up, I'm working on another kind of similar art from art collection of poetry based off of Charlie Jacobs' Dread and the Beast, which is I'm pretty comfortable saying my favorite novel that has ever that I've read. The world is a sadder place without Charlie in it anymore. But I did get permission from her husband, who owns the rights now, to be able to do some work based off of the stuff that she does. And so I'm hoping to be able to do that justice. It's very daunting because she was a much better writer than I am. But there's some really interesting things to grab onto from that and play with. And hopefully that will help point other people towards it. Although I will also throw out just some respect to David Niall Wilson and Crossroad Press for keeping her work alive. You can find all of her stuff through there and check it out. Like find some stuff of Charlie Jacobs and read it. I don't care if it's that. I don't care if it's Soma. I don't care. Like she bitch got a lot of good stuff. Okay, it's really good. I cannot recommend it enough. I'm playing around with that. And I do have in the back of my head, I will mention since a couple of my Pooh sisters are here, I am bouncing around in the back of my head the idea, since the whole Villanelles thing just did not seem to work well, the idea of doing a second High Pooh. I need to get my head on straight a little bit better, but I may be bugging you later on about that because that was really fun to do. And thanks to Angela Yuriko Smith for being the person who somehow managed to make it my job to make the thing about that. I don't know how that conversation turned to now I've got to do it. But thanks. It ended up being a lot of fun to do anyways.
This is what I do. This is how I got to be president. I go, I have an idea, and then I say the idea and I stop, and then somebody else is going to go, that's a great idea. I'm going to take that on. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. But I didn't say that. You said, yeah, you know what? That sounds really good. You go ahead and do that. And I didn't want to.
Well, okay, I might have said, oh, you should do that.
Yeah.
It wasn't a directive. It was just like, oh, that's a good idea. And you were awesome at it. You were perfect.
There you go.
I appreciate that.
We gotta have support, and sometimes support looks like pushing you a little bit to do the thing. So
Even if you should not force your poo.
no, that shit should be natural. Just like you, Anton. So glad you're part of this collection, seriously. And seriously looking forward to what you got coming, whether it's Haipu 2, Haipu 3. I don't know. The whole series.
And
It could be like
there is the
the
question.
Fast and the Furious movies, only Haipu.
And should it be Haiku 2 Electric Boogapoo? Should it be Revenge of the Pooh? Like
Now
that.
we can have a conversation later because I love naming things. And I know a lot of authors don't like naming things, but I do.
Okay, I'll bite. Are these haikus about poo?
Yes, they are.
You got it.
Okay, awesome.
And for anybody watching this, you can purchase Haiku what was that, 120 or no, sorry, 140 perspectives on poetry. That includes myself, Angela Yuriko Smith, Donna Monroe is in that. Also, the marvelous Sarah Hans, the lovely Jesse Wolf, Connor Muddiman, that weird brained individual Connor. I don't even know what to think about him. And also Kate Ingram, who is also much more calmly weird than Connor, but they're both weird people. There's some just saying you should go buy that too.
Do you even do horror if you're not a weird person though? Like kind of just what we do. So looking forward to that. Truly hands-on. All right. Lucy, what do you have coming up?
Okay, so excitingly, last week I finally turned in my latest novel, The Star-Stained Soul, to my editor at Nightfire. So if anybody was waiting on that, I finally got it sent in. There was a whole saga. Like I ended up writing an 8,000 word afterword to tell the story of the story at the end of the novel because all of this stuff happened while I was trying to get it finished. It got ridiculous to a certain point. So anyway, hopefully people will enjoy the novel. Hopefully people will enjoy the memoir that I tacked in on the end to explain, why this took a little while. Um, anyway, that's going to be a Lovecraftian Southern Gothic. And hopefully people will enjoy it. But of interest to people who really like Sister Maiden Monster, I'm working on a novella that was originally going to be an expansion of two of my existing short stories, which are The Kind Detective and Death Beneath the Dread Sleeper. Um, which, if you haven't read those two, they're very grim detective, cosmic horror detective noir stories. And when I was expanding them, I was like, huh, you know what would be fun here? A secondary storyline braiding in with this from the perspective of an alternate universe, Savannah. So we've got Savannah in this one, and so it's going to tie into Sister Maiden Monster in some ways, but again, this is not the same world. It's like a close adjacent world. Um, so I'm having fun with that, and that's not under contract or anything yet, but I'm gonna work on that, send it to my agent, and see what happens at that point.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. I love cosmic horror. It's my like sweet spot.
Excellent.
So I love when people do different stuff with cosmic horror. It's amazing. So looking forward to it. Thank you for sharing. Um, I guess I'll share real quick. So I really loved working on this anthology. We're going to start with that. Um, it's very exhausting, more exhausting than I thought it would be. And I am going to take a little hiatus after this publishes to work on my own stuff. And real excited about that.
Heck yeah.
Hey, yeah. And I think there's a balance and I'm still finding it. I'm so happy that I had the opportunity to do this. Like I cry about it sometimes, literally, because when you feel something in your heart and you get to do it, it doesn't even matter. Like nothing else matters. Like it's like, and when people show up and support the project, that's even better. This is like this thing I cared about. You care about it too, and we're caring about it together, and it's amazing. But it's also very exhausting. And there's a lot of work that goes on behind the scenes, but um, if someday I ever win an award, I think I'm going to spend part of the speech telling people about it. I know that's not typical, but like just, you know, this is not this is not as easy as people think it is, I think. I think I know some people that are just like, oh, so people send you their stories and then you just put them in a Word file and you publish it. Ah, I wish. No, that's not how it works. So I think it's okay to be exhausted and also happy at the same time. And
100%. It's
just
hard work. Being
yes,
an
it
editor is hard.
is. Yeah. And in the future, I understand why people have co-editors now. Maybe in the future I will look into that. I'm just so stubborn. I was like, no, I'm going to do everything myself. And I did, but it was a lot. And I'm so glad I did it. Yeah, working on my own stuff. Um, I've had a collection of poetry that I'm working on coming out that's very weird. It's so weird. I can't even hardly describe it. It's weird. It's like love poems told from the perspectives of sea creatures. And there's some darkness and horror in it, but it's been read by a number of people and everybody loves it. Thinks I should add more to it. So I'm going to do that and hopefully get that a home. And I have a couple of different novels that I'm kind of working on. So we will see what happens. But yeah, I think there is a balance between doing editorial or publishing things and your own things. There's a balance that we have to find in this industry for sure. So, um, that's kind of where I'm at. And that's what I have. Does anybody have any last minute thoughts about the anthology? Anything you want to say that you didn't get the chance to say that you want to say right now?
Give Amanda your money. She worked hard for this stuff. Give her money. Buy copy. Buy, you know what? Buy copies for your whole family, especially that annoying uncle, grandma, whatever that keeps talking about how things are so much better now. Get them
Mm.
copies. Read it aloud to them. Drop them off in local free libraries, whatever. I don't care. Just buy yourself a minimum of 5 copies each.
You know, there is like a little local, like one of those like, free library things on this trail that I hike on, and I'm thinking about putting a copy
Eh. Is there
Honestly,
going to
because
be an audiobook?
I don't think so at this point, but if it's popular enough, probably. Like, I don't know. I can ask about that, but I haven't heard about that. And I think also like I'm gonna mention pre-orders because I've had so many people reach out to me about how can I pre-order this? And
Hmm.
there isn't a pre-order thing set up for it. But maybe in the future that's a thing that Dragon's Roost can look into. So this might be a learning curve sort of thing. Um, but yeah, it's like this was like yesterday. I'm just like, well, can you wait like 3 days? I don't know. Like at this point, like a pre-order doesn't make sense, um but yeah, it's a dream come true, seriously. I'm so
and
glad
honestly,
all of you been
the
part of it.
perfect gift for friends and enemies. Like either way, you can't go wrong with getting them a copy of the book.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
It's a gift that keeps on giving and giving and giving.
Right.
You got a cover you can hold up so people can see it?
You know, this is really crappy, but not like an up-to-date one. I will hold on. Hold on. Hold on. So I have an interesting story about the cover. Um, so the official cover is let me see. So this is Ruth Anna did the cover for, I don't know if you can see this, but this is the cover we had. Ruth Anna Evans did our cover for kind of getting us by because covers, as it turns out, take a minute to arrange. And this is my first time editing anything, full disclosure. So I didn't realize how long it was going to take. And I didn't work in all the little kinks in the system that can happen. So Lynn Hansen did our official cover. And I can send that to anybody that doesn't have it that wants it. But I don't have a physical copy of the book with the cover on it. And what I did, and I don't even know, like half the stuff I've done with this anthology, I don't know if it's standard that like people do this. I don't know. But I
I
talked
don't think
to
there is a standard. I'll just say, like, we're all just figuring
okay,
it out.
right, but like I didn't have a cover of any kind, and I was waiting on a lens cover, and I talked to Ruth Ann Evans because I think she's awesome, and I was like, explain the situation, and she had a $50 cover. I paid the $50 for her cover, and she worked with me to get it perfect, and it was a really great cover, and so we have like kind of two covers. There's the interim cover, and then there's the official like cover. And I feel fortunate in a way because we got to support two artists really. That's cool. Um, but yeah, I'm sure I don't know that most people do it that way, but I just feel like so much of this has been figuring things out as I go. And that's another reason that I'm really grateful because I haven't done this before. And I've been asking a lot of questions and talking to people and trying to figure out the right way to proceed. But I guess when you're passionate about enough about something, you're just like, I'll figure it out. So yeah, thanks for being along for the ride. I'm sure some of it is more or less, than other experiences, but yeah, I'm grateful to have been able to support two artists and just all of you.
Make one of them a collector's edition.
Yes, yeah, maybe.
No, I want both
Not a bad
copies.
idea.
I need both of them.
You need both of them.
Both of
Yeah,
Yes.
right. Um, I kind of like Ruth Anna Evans cover because it's just like this little girl looking at a burning house. And I feel like that hits. Like on some level that just hits. Um, but also Len's cover is incredible too. It's exactly, it hit my vision entirely. Like it's very dystopian. It's very like wasteland of America sort of thing. So it's very Mad Max. I said that to somebody and I'm just like, this is the most Mad Max cover I've ever seen. And I love it. But yeah. Um, so anybody that doesn't have the cover, let me know. I can definitely get you the cover. If you want both covers, both covers. I mean, I don't see the harm in that. Um, but yeah, it's surreal that this is coming to Nice. I don't even know. But thanks for being along for the ride. And
Thanks for doing all the work.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, we've had a lot of good early readers really love it, actually.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And, uh yeah, it's gonna be good. That's
Well,
what I'm
any of
telling.
you early readers that are watching this, as soon as the book drops, get on Amazon and
Yes,
Goodreads and put reviews up.
exactly. You should review it.
We need those. We
Buy
need
it and
12.
review it.
Yep. Tell your
And
friends, tell your neighbors, tell your enemies. Yeah.
yeah, tell your
Tell your
enemies.
enemies.
Fact. That's not a bad
Especially
idea.
tell your enemies.
Yeah.
Read it just so you can be so mad about it. Because you need to be mad about something. I mean, come on. I mean, I don't know, but something had to be done. And so I did it. So here we are. We did it, actually. We did it together. We've got plant horror, we've got insurance horror,
Yes, health
multiple
insurance
insurance
for
horrors. we've got we've got some food shortage horrors in this thing. We've got immigration horror. We've got college didn't pan out the way I wanted it to horror, which makes my heart just like, yes, yes, we
Ooh.
needed that. We've got Tony with Xavier with some, consequences of like some social media lottery, Shirley Jackson-esque horror thing going on. It's really cool. Um, yeah. We've got a lot of characters too. I feel like that you root for something bad to happen to them. And I feel like that's fun to read sometimes, like I hope this guy gets it, and then he does, and you're like, yes, fulfilling. Anything else people want to say about this? Have we said it? I think we've said it. We've said it. So, all right, we're gonna wrap this up. So, thank you to the authors for being here, for sharing their stories, some insight into their stories, and it's what brought them to the anthology and all of that good stuff. Thank you to everybody that's watching this because I know you have choices about what to watch. And I really hope this inspires you to just want to go out and buy this book. So there's a lot of different kinds of horror kind of in this one anthology, and I feel like it really hits. It's really authentic, and hopefully it speaks to your experience as well. So that's kind of the point. And yeah, that's what I have. So thank you everybody for being here. Any last thoughts before we sign off? All right, I guess we can stop the recording.